You're listening to the Strings of Fate podcast. My name is Renea, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting us. Now, if you'll excuse me, I seem to have lost my compatriots. Oh dear. Vincent? Anyways, enjoy the show. It's been an interesting past day for you all. And, of course, as you are readying yourselves after your first long rest of the entirety of this podcast, you are readying yourselves to travel with Bonnie down the Golden Route. And as you are making your way to this wagon you've heard so much about in the morning after the entire Goldstead commotion, you're kind of expecting a standard wooden wagon with canvas and reasonable space. What you weren't expecting is Bonnie's slightly oversized iron wagon with a pad iron lock on the back and barred windows on the sides. And you see now that waiting for you alongside Bonnie are the 4 bandits that was trying to attack Azzurum. 2 of them were actually in the initial attack on Azzurum, and 2 of them in the previous fight. And they are manacled by the legs and hands. They're tired. They look at you with disdain. And Bonnie's just waiting by the wagon as well. Just kind of waves. She says, "Howdy, good morning, folks. We ready to travel?"
I'm ready to get the fuck out of here.
Let's get this shit on the road.
"I hope y'all don't mind a little company." She says. She opens up the back and begins to funnel in the 4 bandits. She says, "There should be room in the back for all 4 of you if you want, though if one of you wants to sit out on top of me, that should be fine too."
I'll do that.
She laughs at Lidara's jumping onto this. Renee
I'm
looks
not
at
sitting with them. Well, fine.
Are any of them hot?
Oh my god.
One of them got a natural 1, so someone's not looking too great. Oh, and another natural 1.
No way.
It's been like natural 1, 9, 3, natural 1. The one of them is the main like red-headed gunslinger Carrie, the one that
was a turtle.
Yeah, the one that was a turtle. The one that was a turtle is
Irish
there
cowboy.
and just kind of spits onto the ground, and looks with disdain at all of you as he's kind of pushed in. She's like, "Oh, get in there now." She says, "Listen, they're not going to be with us the entire time that we're traveling. I'm actually meeting a liaison from the Peacekeepers about a day or 2 outside of Goldstead, and then once we meet up with them, then we will drop off these prisoners, and then we can have ourselves a nice leisurely time. But in the meantime, they are safe. There's no harm they're going to be doing to y'all. Maybe they'll annoy you a little bit, but other than that, you know."
I mean, I'm not scared of them putting any harm. We already kicked their ass once, so we have to... They can... Are they like gagged or anything? Can they talk?
They're not gagged. They're just like silent. You can see their heads are down. They're like looking at Bonnie and then looking at all of you. You see that some of them are like kind of gritting their teeth a little bit. There's the red-headed human gunslinger Carrie. There's a tabaxi, an elf, and what looks to be like a gnome, and they're all just kind of same heads down, not making eye contact with any of you.
I'm gonna sit next to Carrie.
You sit next to Carrie and you're, "Oh, for the love of Christ."
Hey, Carrie. Carrie, is it?
"Aye, that's my name, not Doug."
How do you feel knowing that we won and that I am not the air genasi you were looking for?
He breathes out a sigh. He's like, "I don't feel good about it, alright?"
Is there something you maybe want to say to me or maybe my friends?
If you're looking for an apology, I don't think you're barking up the right tree.
Would you leave him alone?
I just think that it's a little rude that we walk into this town and the first thing he does is attack us.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I like to do a good job of things. Right? Thorough. If one of my boys says that there's an air genasi over in the saloon there, then what am I supposed to do?
And if one of your boys told you to jump off a fucking cliff, would you do that too?
Well, no, they're two different things. You have to understand.
It sounds like you're more of a fucking follower than a leader, Carrie.
Listen.
I don't think you should antagonize him, mostly because I just don't want to hear any of these people speak.
Are you arguing already?
Yes.
We haven't even started going anywhere yet, and you're already arguing with them. We have a whole trip with these people.
The wagon is parked.
He pointed a gun to my head.
Maybe, like, wait a couple hours and then drill him in, you know? Like, why?
I can wait a couple hours and kick him off the back of this fucking iron wagon.
Don't do that, please. Don't kick any of them off the back, all right? We need them all if I'm going to get the bounties off of them. Renair takes a seat next to Vincent, takes a look over at the tabaxi and was like, oh, I wrestled with you last night, do you remember? And tabaxi's like, just kind of looks him dead in the eye.
Vincent puts his, like, hand over his face like, oh my god, why are we talking to them?
Renair looks and says, I guess you do. And then looks down at the iron floor as you are all sharing this very nice cramped space. Bonnie says, if you want, I can throw some cushions back there. Not for y'all, she says, looking at the prisoners and looking at you three, and is like, but I can have some cushions. I know that those iron seats can get mighty uncomfortable.
Might be nice.
Yeah, I like a nice cushion, you know.
Sure.
It's gonna be a long ride.
Sure. She reaches under into like a storage compartment that's under the main driver's seat, pulls out some nice cushions, and just kind of hands them back to you.
I would like one, please. Thank you.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, you're sitting up front. We got a little bit of comfort here, but sure.
Thanks, thank you.
Little back support, little lumbar support.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
What color are the cushions?
They're like a velvet red, sort of.
Ooh. She's got velvet.
We're riding in style.
You see that, Carrie? You see, I got a cushion.
You didn't get a cushion, did you, Carrie?
I didn't get a cushion.
Are you antagonizing him too now?
Fun. I don't like them.
After the fucking hell they put us through. You know, Carrie, I was in labor.
That's not the correct term.
That's
not the correct term.
carrying.
Infected.
How do you feel attacking someone like me? I was.
I don't honestly know how to respond to that question. I'm very sorry if I attacked you while you were in a very difficult part of your life, but you must understand that there was a lot of, why am I explaining myself to you? He just kind of turns and he just kind of looks towards the other wall of this iron wagon, just not trying his best to block you out basically. And soon enough, Bonnie just kind of and then as the wagon takes off. That first day of travel out of Goldstead is fairly peaceful. You pass Hannigan's Bluff again, this place in which you've had this heated chase with Donegan gang. You see places in the ground where there are craters of dirt and a little bit of dried blood that's in places. But there's no bodies left. It looks like anything that was left behind by that chase has been disposed of accordingly. However, alongside with that, Bonnie sort of keeps a gun drawn as she makes her way through, kind of remembering what happened in this kind of forest outcropping. But nothing happens. The people that are camped here don't arrive. There's no sign of a struggle. You had heard about a stagecoach robbery, but there doesn't look to be anyone around Hannigan's Bluff as it is. At the end of Hannigan's Bluff, there's sort of a place where the road sharply curves, and then you can see where that cliffside was coming from. This kind of sheer face cliff wall with a winding road going down and around it all the way down to this, connect these two steep points of elevation. But eventually you bed down for rest a little farther from there as you reach the bottom of this cliff. And who's keeping watch?
Azzurum, probably.
Do you need another person, or are you good by yourself?
Honestly, I don't need to sleep, but I'm not very perceptive.
I'll help
also
you out.
dark.
Is this the first time that you've ever done this where you've been like, I don't need to sleep?
Yeah, probably.
Brunner would probably be like, you what? You don't need to sleep?
Yeah, I don't need to sleep.
Is that like an insomnia thing or like?
I just find that if I just like sit there and do nothing, that usually it's the same effect as sleeping.
And you don't actually fall asleep? Like, you sure? It's not just like a dream and like you're imagining like where you are?
I'm awake the whole time. Sometimes I doodle in the sand.
Is fascinating. Why?
I don't know.
That's not like a Genasi thing, like, at all. That's kind of strange. Like, if you were an elf, I'd be like, oh, I understand, because elves do that as well.
Yeah, I'm not an elf.
Does that have something to do with the, like, whole, the whole thing? With the... I look at Bonnie.
Bonnie's currently going through a routine right now where she kind of shuffles the prisoners out to let them do whatever they need to do, get stretch their legs out, and then also gives them their food for dinner, that sort of thing. She still cooks for them and feeds them and everything. She's not cruel. She's not paying attention to this. It's just you all. Oh, that's a good point.
The whole, like, pact you made with a being thing.
Oh, yeah. I think it actually.
About that?
No, honestly, I don't think about it a lot.
Interesting.
I think I do vaguely, now that you mention it, remember someone being like,
Someone?
you cannot sleep if you don't want to.
Who
And
told
I was
you
like, I don't know, honestly.
that? Weird. Okay. So just anyone, just like a voice came into your head.
Well, like, like the people who like talk to me in my dream.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned that before, a long time ago. Or something in your dream. You remember when you were like, oh, I'm an open book? Just bring that up just to remind you that this is an instance where you are absolutely not an open book. And
I'm really trying to open up.
It seems like
gross.
every time you talk, it's like you're being hurt. Like if someone's like... like someone's trying to... it feels like pulling teeth trying to get you to talk about these things. But honestly, Azzurum, I'm proud of you for at least telling us those things.
I am going to start living by the whole open book thing.
Okay.
Any questions you have, I will answer them.
Any?
What was
Yeah,
your
go
father's,
right now.
What was your father's name?
Not that one. Next question.
All right, okay.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
That one was a little obvious, Lidara.
Okay, well,
God, I hope so.
He's like,
I don't want to just assume. It could be any color, okay? It could be black, it could be gray, it could be green.
all the things he wears are either like black, blue, or gray, so it just even makes sense.
Well, the reason I always wear black, blue, and gray is because honestly, I can't wear a lot of bold colors with the blue skin. I feel like it doesn't look
You
great.
should wear a
you
yellow.
wear whatever you want.
Yellow.
Yeah, I think that you would look great in yellow. I think that,
Yellow.
like, honestly,
Maybe like a pop of color. I don't know much about fashion.
You're one to talk about a pop of color, Lidara.
Whoa.
she's in
Oh.
all black.
I didn't say that I liked it on me.
I think we should get Lidara like a red little moment.
What?
Like
like
a
a red number.
What is a
Like a-
moment?
like-
What is a moment? Like, I don't...
It's a moment.
Like a...
maybe like a scarf, a
I
headband.
like this one, and I pull up the scarf that I've got.
Oh, yeah, we already have one
Yeah, I
red
already got one of
scarf.
those.
Maybe purple.
Purple would look nice. Yeah.
I agree.
Do you know what the color purple is?
Oh my god.
I'm not an idiot, Azzurum. I know what the color
And
purple
if you were an
is.
idiot, that would be okay.
Well, I'm not. So a purple moment. What?
Yeah, like maybe some earrings. Are your ears pierced?
Like, no.
I can pierce them.
No, that's a bad idea.
I've pierced my ears multiple times.
You are not getting anywhere near my face.
That's like an infection waiting to happen.
Do I have any infections on my
I
ears?
wouldn't know. Honestly.
Maybe
I
medicine
wouldn't
check.
know. Wait, wisdom check?
Medicine check.
Just make me.
Anyone that's looking. And they'll make one too.
Ooh, bad. That's like a 6.
5.
Nice.
Good ears. Not infected. Pretty clean.
Azzurum points to his ears and is like, see, I have pierced my ears multiple times. It's fine. I think we should pierce your ears.
Only if you want to. I also don't. We don't have any disinfectant.
Why do people do that? Like, for what?
I mean, it's fun. It looks nice.
Do you not like mine?
Vincent's got like 4 in each ear.
I've just never been like, that's something that I should do. Like, put a hole in my ear for, like, what, like a silver thing? Like,
accessorizing. It's fashion. That's that sort of thing. I have, one. I used to have more when I was younger, but I
Does
only
Renair only have like 1 in one ear? Does he have it in the gay ear?
Renair has it in both ears.
Oh,
but also you can see
it's
it
fine.
as make a perception check.
Perception. Don't know what my modifier is. Give me 1 second. Hold. 16. Sorry.
16 is enough to see that when Renair says that, like, I used to have more. You can see that there are still some places that are where more piercings could go. That sort of thing.
A rebellious phase.
Oh well, I wouldn't call it that. Everyone has a little streak where they want to, go crazy and pierce their ears and stay out after the sun goes down. That
I don't
sort of
know
thing.
if that's
Stay out after the sun goes down?
I
Do you
don't-
go to bed at like 6 p.m.?
I mean, not right now, not usually, but I like to keep a regular schedule
Usually.
I like to keep a regular schedule when I was back in the city.
It's alright. I've never had a rebellious phase myself, but that's
What
that's
were
kind
you
of a
doing
you
around
thing.
like 2021? I feel like that's like around the time the rebellious phase would happen.
Sleeping on the street, trying to make ends meet, that kind of thing. I don't know. A few years ago, past few years. I mean, honestly, the first time I ever had like a permanent place to stay was when we got that tavern. So before
Same.
that, I just kind of
Actually, I would agree with
Yeah.
that.
You had a rebellious phase.
I think that I
That's what you all the
live
time.
in a rebellious phase, actually.
yeah. You did join a cult,
I did not join a cult.
I mean,
pretty much.
Well,
You have the tattoo to prove it. So
I think the tattoo looks kind of cool.
I
I
don't
used to
know.
not want to get tattoos because I like my body's a temple, So
yeah.
I never wanted to like get a tattoo. And ever since I've been forced to get this one, I think it looks pretty wicked.
Wait, people get tattoos for fun?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
know a
should
lot of
get matching tattoos in the next
No.
city we're in. Please.
I don't want to be tied to you people like that.
It's about this time when Bonnie walks up. And, what are we talking about here? And kind of notes the atmosphere. Says, "Okay, well, what
Tattoos, piercings. You got any?
Well, yeah, I got piercings. You
Yeah.
can see that her ears are absolutely like studded up with piercings. Tattoos? Not really. No, I've never really stopped to really get one or felt that I had a real reason to, or I always wanted one of those to be something that has a lot of meaning, I suppose.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a choice for this one, so.
Well, we can get it covered up with our friendship tattoos.
It's pretty big. How big of a friendship tattoo do you want?
I mean, we can get creative.
What?
Would you rather have a tattoo that reminds you of me or of your old guild?
On that point, old guild, that tattoo,
Oh.
that's a marking of the Zentarum,
Puts her shirt down.
correct?
Maybe, yeah. Perhaps.
With what you just said, I can kind of piece together what the situation is, and I won't say nothing. But also, you're best to keep something like that covered once we pass into Ansyr.
Do you have strong opinions about the Zentarum?
Not strong opinions, but I know of them. I know that they're well established enough to not end up on any of the Peacekeeper bounty lists. I know that one of the major trading hubs in the Painted Valley was recently shut down for quite a while because of a raid by the Zentarum or some sort of siege.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't have a personal opinion. I just think that there are people who do have negative opinions of those within the Zentarum. It's still a criminal organization, she says. Sort of air quotes.
Did you hear much about what happened in Cineath?
I don't head towards the main city centers a lot. I heard news from people that were talking about it because their trading was going down or caravans getting stocked up over in the next town, that sort of thing. But all I heard is that Zentarum had basically locked down the city, which a lot of people were thinking was cause for the nations to swoop further in and just take over Cineath.
That's all?
That's about all I know.
Interesting. Anyway, so Azzurum and Lidara are taking the...
Yes, I'll help you take watch.
Yeah, I can.
You can't see in the dark. Even if you will stay awake all night, you can't see shit.
I'll set out a bedroll.
I'm gonna push Lidara off a cliff tonight. Vincent, please prepare yourself for morning.
I will revive her if necessary.
Renee, prepare a funeral for Lidara.
I don't think I'm
Please.
officiated to do something like that.
I only have so many diamonds. Let's not kill each other tonight.
You're not gonna kill me. We all know it.
He's not.
He's not. All right, let's everyone go to bed. I'm tired.
Here's how we'll do it. Azzurum, I need you to make 2 perception checks. Lidara, I need you to make 1. You only have to sleep for 4 hours, Lidara, or because you have the elven trance meditation sort of thing. That means that you don't have to sleep for as long. Azzurum, yours would be with disadvantage. Sorry about that. You have no dark vision, so you're just kind of...
Is mine with advantage then?
Yours is just regular.
Cool.
Straight
That's
roll.
a 12.
12.
Not bad.
Yeah, but bad enough that...
Oh my god.
My first perception was a natural 1, plus 1.
Awesome.
My second one was a 5.
Okay. Azzurum is not paying attention this watch. Azzurum on this watch, the problem with not being able to sleep is now that you experience every hour of the night and with no one to talk to and everyone asleep, it gets pretty boring. Eventually, like, Lidara and you have a good conversation every now and then during the watch. So Lidara eventually go to sleep unless you had anything you wanted to say to Azzurum while everyone else is asleep.
Hey?
Hey.
It's dark, you know.
Yeah, pretty dark. I keep trying to count the stars, and then I keep losing count, and I have to start all over. But
Are you starting from the same place each time?
I think so, but I feel like they're moving.
Oh. I don't think that they are. Do they move?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
Well, you see, I've been trying to base it off of that slightly brighter star there to the left.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But it used to be on my right.
Okay, so then it's moving.
Yeah, I think it's moving. Did you have something you wanted to say to me? Because I just lost count again, actually.
Just talking about if the stars move, but there's no one else awake to be like, yeah, so they're like, I don't think they move.
Lidara's like lived on her own and like
Study the stars.
She knows that the planet rotates.
Astronomer?
Are they flat earthers? Azzurum and Lidara take watch all the time, so often together that they're like, I think the world is flat. And no one is there to tell them otherwise.
How you doing? Are you doing okay and stuff? Just want to check in. Make sure.
I feel a little bit better ever since we got the whole parasite thing figured out. I mean, other than that, I'm fine, I guess. I'm a little stressed, but overall, I'm fine. Are you fine?
Me?
Yeah, you seem a little,
What?
just like, you don't normally ask me a lot of questions.
I'm just, I was just trying to make sure you were okay. I was worried a little bit, but
You're
it's
worried
fine.
about me?
What?
Like, you're worried about me?
Yeah, I was worried about you. Yeah, it was kind of scary. You're in pain.
Oh my god, Lidara, is this you saying you want to get friendship tattoos?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we can get friendship tattoos of this constellation right here. And Azzurum points to just a random clump of stars.
No. I was a little traumatized by the first tattoo. I don't know if I want to do that again.
Well, maybe I can make the experience better. You know? Maybe I can hold your hand this time.
Oh, God. Okay, we're bringing that up.
Are you...
What?
Are you just, like, lonely or something? Do you need to talk about something?
No, I'm usually
Are you still
alone.
upset
so
about,
it's
like, the
okay.
whole... Kale...
Why? Okay, we don't have to talk about that right now. We don't have to talk about him ever again, I think. That's all in the past.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to counting the stars then. I think... Ah, shit. I lost it.
You have fun with that. Maybe you should, like, draw it out or something. Can you draw?
Do you have, like, pen and paper?
Yeah, hold on. Here you go.
Azzurum starts, like, just poking holes in a piece of paper. Tries to line it up with the sky. He's like...
An artist. Picasso.
It tears a little bit.
She's like, my paper. Okay, that's fine.
A regular Van Gogh. It's Starry Night.
Azzurum, you spend the rest of the night riddling this piece of paper with holes, and by the morning you can't tell how to count them, as you seem to lose count every time you try and go through the vast amount of holes in the paper. Eventually, Lidara, you nod off. The rest of the night, you don't really sense any danger around the camp. There's the distant sounds of, like, hoofbeats, like far, far off towards the path. You've been tending to move away from the main path when you camp. And then every now and then you hear, like, just off in the distance. But nothing ever comes into the vicinity of the camp that you need to wake everyone up for. So the sun rises, you all awaken, and the next day of travel begins. Then, are there any more things that you would all want to do before we drop off these people, before we reach the drop-off point?
Delinquents.
These delinquents.
Yeah. With the four that are in there. I guess I'll talk to Carrie first.
Talk to Carrie.
Yeah, I'll talk to Carrie first.
Carrie mostly just spends his time, like, with his head down, closed, his head turned away from Azzurum, who elects to sit next to him every time, just staring at him, and he's just kind of looking away. What do you say?
Oh wait, I've just got a question.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. That air genasi that came through and everybody's looking for. Did anyone have more information on them? Where they went, what they looked like, if they said anything particular, if they were looking for something or someone?
You're the nat 20 to recall information. Carrie looks over. He says, well, about a week ago, I would say at this point, the days kind of blur out here, but a group that was taking tolls around the same road that you must have traveled to get to Goldstead. They came out to rob an air genasi. That air genasi proceeded to kill half of them and leave the other half in a terrible state in which they're unable to fight and recovering at the fort right now.
So, what you're saying is they started it?
Yes. We started it, as we tend to start things. But at the same time, Denton is not the type of person to take a defeat like that lightly, especially at the hands of one person. And so, Denton's had riders all across the Painted Valley searching for this air genasi. And I think that every other gang and mini group that pledges their allegiance to the Donegan gang, they all want a shot at being in the fort. And that seemed like a pretty good way to get in. All I heard is that the people that came back from that excursion with that air genasi, it's not just physical damage. Some of them came back with their eardrums blown out. Some of them came back fearing God. I don't know what kind of person we were expecting to face, but the reason that so many are sent out at this point, and the reason the entire Painted Valley is up in an uproar, is because what they faced, that wasn't just any air genasi. I should have realized that, but I was just jumping at the chance to see anything that would get me there.
Maybe one thing the Donegan gang can learn from all this is to pick on someone their own size.
Maybe.
Seems like you guys keep biting off more than you can chew. I look at, like, the shackles that he's in.
Denton will have us replaced by the day's end, he says with a bit of spite in his voice.
What did he look like?
What
did the genasi look like?
I personally wasn't there, but the people that came to me were damn sure that you were the air genasi. And it's not just because you were an air genasi, no. It's true that not many air genasi come through the Painted Valley. But they were damn sure that you had the same face.
Interesting. Any word on where they might be going?
If they're making their way down the Golden Route, then I suppose you'd be right on their heels. That is, unless they've diverged down some different path somewhere away. I know that there are smaller paths that go further into the valley itself, but honestly, I couldn't tell you if they've have somewhere they need to be.
That's enough, and I'll just scoot over to the side.
Eventually, at the end of this ride, you hear Bonnie shout from the front, "All right, you four, here's your stop," as the wagon itself begins to come to a halt. You can see through these sort of barred windows you're on a place like a prairie where it kind of goes on for a while, just like hills and valleys, that sort of thing. Bonnie hops off of the driver's seat, makes her way around the back, unlocks the padlock, opens it up, and says, "Here, let's filter out the special passengers we have," and guides you three off before leading out the other four figures. And as you exit the wagon, you have to blink your eyes to adjust to the bright sunlight of the Painted Valley. You can see in the distance the faintest figures of mountains and forests. And they are on a little further up this hill. You see another wagon, similar to the one you've just left. And there's a lithe man of elven heritage wearing a shirt and vest tucked into pants, tucked into boots, with spurs. His hat is tipped over his eyes as he leans his back against the back of the wagon. And he doesn't even stir as you all approach. And at first he seems to be stoic, just so dedicated as to not even budge or say a word. As Bonnie approaches with the rest of you, leading them like chain gang style, the four prisoners, says, "Felix." Doesn't respond.
Hello?
For Pete's sake. "Felix!" And you see, oh, dang, Miss Bonnie, you scared the living daylights out of me. Howdy, peacekeepers. Oh, I don't know you four.
You don't need to.
You're not You're not the bounties, right? You're not. No, the ones in the damn Felix. Yeah, you're totally right. Howdy, I'm Peacekeeper Felix. Well, Peacekeeper Receiver Felix, something along those lines. It's very nice to meet you.
Charmed.
Howdy.
Oh, he's fairly attractive.
The pleasure is all mine.
Azzurum!
Very nice to meet you all. Bonnie, let's go through procedure here. He opens up the back of his iron wagon, says, "All right, get on in there." Bonnie sort of leads them all in. You know the drill. I'll put these towards your account and we'll update the records. You can collect your payment down in Weldon once we've determined the danger of these here criminals. But mighty fine work here, Bonnie. And Bonnie says, "Yeah, thank you. There was, honestly couldn't have done it without some of these folk helping me." He says, "Well, that's fantastic. Honorary peacekeepers. Not officially. I don't have the jurisdiction to give that title out. But in my heart, I'll just say it."
Just,
It's okay. I don't really think that we're ones to walk around with the peacekeeper title.
Yeah, no, not really.
That's very fair. It's a dangerous title. It's a dangerous land, the Painted Valley. I nearly lost an ear to a couple bandits just the other day. I didn't, but nearly.
That is so impressive.
Oh my God.
I'm so proud of you.
What are you doing?
Well, thank you.
What are you trying to do?
All right. And finally, before we continue, for formality's sake, and you can hear Bonnie being like, no, you don't have to. And he says, "Do you, Bonnie O'Donegan, verify that the bounties you intend to collect on are those that were threatening the peace and safety of the citizens of the 5 nations on threat of severe punishment should this be determined to be false under scrutiny by a priest of the Morning Lord?" Bonnie just kind of...
I'm sorry, what was that?
We'll talk about this on the wagon.
I do. And I put in a request to have my last name expunged from the record. Felix looks and says, "Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry about that. I never got the memo. I will correct that right here on my list there."
Embarrassing.
Well, this looks to all check out. I'm going to go ahead and drop these off at the nearest peacekeeper station, and then we're good to go. It was very nice to meet you folks. You seem very friendly.
Felix.
Have a great day.
Stay safe, Felix.
Thank you. You're very kind. He hops on the side of the wagon. He goes, "Yeah!" And then takes off. And you're just kind of left there as Bonnie tips her hat over her eyes and just silently gets on the wagon and just waits for you all to get back on.
I don't say nothing. I'll get back on the wagon.
I just hop right next to her.
So, Bonnie?
Yes, Mr. Azzurum?
I have 2 questions.
And those questions would be?
The first one is, what is your relationship with Mr. Den O'Donegan?
That was close.
Yeah, thanks. And my second question is, can we trust you?
Just slowly begins to bring the wagon onto the road as you are speaking with her. And she says, first of all, make a persuasion check, I'll say.
Lidara kind of keeps her hand on her little dagger, just because, you never know.
Persuasion? 14.
As to whether or not you can trust me, I don't know what to say. I've been as good as I can be, but if you decide not to trust me now, there's nothing I can do about it, I suppose. I like to think I'm trustworthy, but new information might make that seem unbelievable. As for my relationship, Den O'Donegan's my brother. He's blood gone bad. The wagon hits the road and begins to pick up pace as she just keeps her eyes forward as she says this. You can see those fiery embers of eyes burning even brighter as she watches intently on the road.
So, you're not with him. You're not secretly aligned with Mr. Denton. You're not here to capture us, kill us.
No, I'm not secretly aligned with Denton. In fact, if I was, then I feel like those other 4 bandits would have been a little more keen to, follow my word, do certain things, but very few people know my actual relationship with Denton. I'm here in the Painted Valley for my own reasons. And those reasons don't involve any loyalty to my brother.
Okay. I'm not one to question someone's past.
I appreciate that. She breathes deep as you all sit in the now very spacious wagon and take on the next day of travel. Hello, hi, this is Christian, the Dungeon Master for the Strings of Fate. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 5 of our adventure so far, the beginning of a new mini-arc. It's very exciting. We're having a lot of fun with it. There's not a ton of announcements this week, but I just wanted to touch on a few things here during this little break that I have, so here we go. If you're really enjoying the show and you're wondering what you can do to help support us, well, right now, spreading the word about the show is the biggest way to help us out. Suggesting the show to your friends, tweeting about the show using the hashtag SoftPod, which I go through every day and pick names out of people who've tweeted about the show to use as NPCs. Things like that help immensely in getting the show seen, having more people listening to it, and then hopefully maybe one day making this a much bigger production. So if you can, please spread the word. Other than that, I wanted to do a couple shout outs here. So first off, thank you to dnddisability.com for allowing us to use your ADHD supplement for our bard, Vincent. You can check them out on Twitter at dnddisability or check their website to find more supplements on bringing disability into the tabletop RPG space. Thank you again to them. We really love the work that you're doing. I also wanted to do a quick shout out to our friend Olivia at Dungeon Depths. Thank you so much for Vincent's beautiful dice. Thank you for all the kindness and support you've been showing to the show. And currently they're having a sale at their shop. There are a few select dice sets that are 40% off and they are absolutely beautiful. So go check them out. Finally, of course, another big thank you to our captioning team, Dea and Dragonfruit, for all the amazing work you're putting in. We really appreciate it, and I think that I speak for everyone in the community when we say that you are doing us a huge, huge service. I think that's everything. So, without further ado, back to the show. Bye! Let's do a couple perception checks. So do the same check again for the next night.
If I had my whip, would I still have disadvantage?
No. If you have your whip out, sure, you wouldn't have disadvantage because you have it casts light that you can see.
I got 28.
28.
The first one, I got a 16.
16.
Second one, a 13.
This watch goes by with no problem, and you're getting a little bit more and more used to taking watches out here, getting used to not sleeping slightly more than you were the previous night. But there is kind of this tension that hangs in the air over that reveal. 'Cause how could there not be? You've heard so much tell of how the O'Donegan gang terrorizes and destroys towns, and here you're traveling with someone that shares the same name. But morning comes, travel continues. Bonnie, at this point, kind of returns a little bit to a more upbeat, but still not at the same level type of voice, and says, all right, we ready for another day of travel? We're still a little bit ways out from Weldon.
How long?
I'd say from here, we can make it by the end of the week, probably.
Alright.
should get going then.
Gonna be stuck together for quite a bit more time.
We surely are.
It's fine.
Didn't you have, like, not to bring this up, but you had questions for us as payment?
I had questions, sure, which was learning more about what each of you is out here for, traveling the Painted Valley. Though something tells me that I don't really have as much room to be the one asking questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we all got our secrets.
Well, we could either sit in silence for a week, which I'm perfectly happy to do. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
But we could either do that and be miserable and awkward, or we could have some sort of pleasant conversation.
Play a game.
Well, we could do that. Play like I Spy. I Spy something beige.
My shirt.
Renee's shirt.
How did you guess?
Oh, really? Fantastic.
No, it was the sand.
Oh.
It was the
That's
sand.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was the
Oh.
sand.
That was good too.
The shirt was it was a very good guess.
Yes, this shirt was white. It's
It's like beige. It's like
Ooh,
off-white.
You didn't
A lot
have
of
to tell
dirt.
me that.
It's, it's fine.
Anyways.
Honestly, we didn't get to do a bath. It's fine. We'll get there
When we
eventually.
get there, hopefully they'll have some bathhouses.
Hopefully.
My father's name is Elliot.
Do I believe you?
Make an insight
I'm
check.
gonna make an insight check on that one. That is
12.
No, it's truth.
Elliot?
Elliot, you asked, and trying to be an open book.
Vincent takes out a journal, writes it down. Elliot, got it? 2 T's?
1 T.
Oh, shit.
It's a great name.
2 L's.
2 L's.
2 L's, 1 T. I'll remember that.
It is a great name.
That's,
I like that name.
That's a nice name. Yeah.
It's a good name.
Did you have any questions for us, or since we're all like,
I mean, do we want to get on the wagon and just start talking about our past and our fathers and everything? Because
Well, Lidara, do you have any interesting facts about your father? We don't really talk about your parents. I know they're all like dead. But
what? Are all of our parents dead? No.
what? My dad is, and my mom is, I guess.
You guess?
I never really knew her.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
So.
Is it a sore subject?
Yeah,
Seems-
I guess it kind of is.
It's fine. I don't really remember my family.
You say that a lot. You say
yeah.
that a lot. Honestly, we talk about things a lot, and you're always like, I don't really remember.
I've mentioned that, but I don't remember.
Is it because they were around when you were very young, or?
Yeah. I mean, my memory's all riddled with holes, so I can't really even remember much. There's like a whole few years that if I just try to remember, it's kind of like a wall. It's like it's all blank. I don't know. We don't have to talk about it if we don't want to. It's
You know, by opening up, I feel like we've gotten just a little more awkward. I was just trying to lighten the conversation, and now we're talking about our dead parents.
well.
I don't know if it's awkward. I mean, it's intense subject matter.
facts.
It's just intense subject matter. I mean, we don't talk about that sort of thing. We make observations. We joke about things that have happened back in Cineath, but we don't really talk about what happened before any of us knew each other.
Yeah. What he said.
Maybe you have a point.
Well, I'm an open book.
I believe it.
So, nothing.
So
Never mind.
What?
I don't have any facts
You don't have anything about your parents.
to answer your question. I mean, not my dad, specifically. So.
It's unfortunate. I had a really nice relationship with my dad.
That's good.
It's just a nice
Do you-
feeling.
Do you ever miss him?
Yeah. A lot, actually.
Did you ever want to talk about him and what he was like? Memories you have?
No.
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 Sure.
No, I don't.
We've got a whole week ahead of us.
You want me to tell you everything about my father?
You don't have to. It's being genuine. If you wanted to talk about it, you can.
I don't like talking about him. Talking about the good times eventually leads to the bad times. And I can't get over the bad times.
How long has it been?
About 5 years now.
Oh, that's not that long ago.
No. Feels pretty fresh.
Damn.
We don't talk about this. We really don't. I really just feel like I dampened the mood.
No,
Anyone have
Two
any other
L's,
questions?
one
You
T.
know what?
That's all you need
Honestly,
to know.
I'm gonna say I will with what Renaira's saying. I think that it's kind of we sort of don't sit in it. Usually, we kind of just
Graze past it.
make a joke and break the tension. Sometimes, I don't know. With things like that, it's okay every once in a while if you want to be a bit more serious. And Azzurum, I feel like you deflect with humor all the time. And that's fine. It's alright. I understand. You don't have to be weighed down all the time, but sometimes it's good to sit in it. And you know, sometimes sorrow needs an audience. So.
I can't begin to forgive myself. And every time I think back, I always think it was my fault. And that maybe I could have done something that prevented it. But I didn't. So I have a hard time talking about it because of that. It's
A lot of guilt.
yeah, guilt.
Well, I'm sure whatever it wasn't your fault. And if it was, I mean, redemption exists.
You obviously cared about him a lot. I'm sure you didn't do anything on purpose. I could not see you for how much you seem to care about him. I could not see you just going out and killing him or putting him in harm's way on purpose.
I mean, honestly, it seemed like my just existence was putting him in harm's way enough.
That wasn't your fault. You didn't create yourself. You're not a burden for just being who you are.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened?
Honestly, it's a lot to get into, but and I think we've talked about this, well, maybe a little bit before, but he was killed by my actual father, biological father.
Well, then that wasn't your fault. That was his fault.
Yeah, I guess.
And so all of this, and I point to like his arm where the tattoo appears, all of that is for some guilt complex you've developed. All of this, and I gesture around me, this adventure you've gone on, and all this, the power that you've sought after is to, I don't know, avenge your father because you think it was your fault.
That day, I saw him. You know, we had gotten in an argument that afternoon, and I stormed off, you know, being a rowdy teen, I guess. And when I came back, I saw him there. And if I had just been stronger, I could have stopped it.
It's not on you.
I completely understand how you feel. Don't think that you're alone and that I felt that guilt my whole life. And it doesn't get easier, but by surrounding myself with people that I care about and I know care about me, it makes it a little bit easier to bear. But it's still there.
It's been a great therapy session, guys. I really
There's the
appreciate
humor.
it.
There's the I don't want to sit in this any longer, so I'm gonna make a joke about it so we can stop talking about it. That's fine. I
It's hard to
understand.
talk about, Vincent. It's hard.
No, I get it.
And sometimes it just has to take. There has to be baby steps in order to
No, I
get to
understand.
there. We can't just jump directly into it.
I do understand. We can stop talking about it. And Azzurum, thank you.
Yeah,
Open
thank you.
book.
That's your new motto.
Azzurum Essinkar, the open book.
Now we have to get you to open an actual book.
I've been getting really bored at night. I've
Maybe-
been thinking about it.
Maybe
I feel
we'll
like a
get you
book
some
would
books.
help that.
Do you want a book to read? I have a book. I have,
Brought a few for the road.
some.
We haven't really developed a plan on what we're going to do in the next town. What is he kind of only like, Bonnie, what is the next town going to be like? He shouts over. Bonnie kind of is broken from some trance and looks, well then? I mean, it depends, it's fine, it's lively, it's close to a city, though, in terms of population size and that sort of thing and how bustling it is, so I don't like to stick around for too long unless I'm taking a bit of a rest, but Weldon's a fun place, I suppose, for travelers. What are you all looking to do?
Take a bath,
Probably take a bath.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
sleep on a bed.
They have bathhouses in Weldon. That's one of the big draws is, well, it's a place for travelers. It's meant to be like some kind of hospitality hotspot. They got inns the size that I've never seen before. They got loads and loads of taverns and bars and restaurants, shops, bathhouses.
Do they have any libraries?
Libraries, I'm sure you could find a place to buy books, though I don't think they have like a public library sort of situation.
Still fine. Well, we could stock up on things, take a load off, relax, take a shower,
Take
a bath.
a bath. I want a bath so bad.
Yeah, honestly, me too. Not really comfortable anymore.
Oh, Lidara's gotten used to city living. What happened to, I sleep on the ground.
That's true. You did
Oh,
used to sleep
I
on
live
you
in the
preferred to sleep on the
woods.
ground. For
Okay,
you like
you
you decided that you didn't want a bed. Like you had the option to have a bed and you decided not to.
Okay, but imagine me, since I was, like, 8, never sleeping on anything but dirt or, like...
I'm not questioning why you want to sleep on the ground. I'm questioning why all of a sudden you want to take a shower, Miss Woodlivin.
Okay, just because I live in the woods doesn't mean I didn't take care of myself, okay? I'm not gross.
Yeah, okay. You all continue the travel. The vistas that you can see during your travel are quite beautiful. The Painted Valley is a land untouched by the Five Nations, and the beauty of them is apparent. Rolling hills of vibrant tall grass, spring wildflowers, the smell of fresh air, and the dry, cool weather that provides comfort even in the iron walls of the wagon through the small, sort of barred windows there. There are animals that graze and charge across the plains in herds. Bonnie has to actually stop a number of times for people like ranchers driving cattle across the road. And at night, you make camp off the side of the road, taking watches each and every night, especially if you're forced to stop where there isn't like an outcrop of forest where you can just kind of conceal your wagon in. The night sky is alive out here with twinkling stars that seem to nearly connect themselves into painted constellations against the darkness. And you all sit around the fire, usually before bedding down, letting Lidara and Azzurum take watch, and you idly chat over a stew that Bonnie usually prepares. The small cauldron hanging over the flames. Is there anything else that anyone's saying during these little camp situations?
No, I've had enough of them.
Fantastic. You all then continue down the road for quite some time. Let's just go ahead and make just make one perception check, each of you. We'll do that for this last watch.
26.
26.
18.
18.
12.
12. This next week of travel goes by with idle chatter. It does get boring being in the back of a wagon just waiting to get places. It's getting towards the end of the week, however. You make your way for some time, and you hear something that hasn't really happened the entirety of this travel, which is Bonnie speaks up. She's been rather silent and mostly just tuning in to idle conversation and that sort of thing, but doesn't really touch back on anything that you were concerned with, and says, we're gonna stop for a second, if that's all right. I think y'all will want to see this. And you feel the wagon sort of been taken off course and then kind of slowed. Lidara, you still sitting over in the top? Then you see this first. It doesn't seem as though there's anything too special. It just looks like she's kind of pulling off. You're in a bit of forest outcrop, and there looks to be like a clearing that's alongside this road. As the wagon comes to a halt, the rest of you file out, and your eyes adjust, along with yours, to what you can only really describe as a sea of pink. In this forest clearing in front of you, on the road that extends for quite a distance, you see this clearing is filled with beautiful pale pink flowers that sway and dance in a light breeze. The meadow itself smells sweet, like honey, and the sound of rustling petals is almost therapeutic. The air is fresh, and Bonnie looks towards it and says, I thought we may want to stop for lunch here. And begins to unpack a few things and makes her way into this meadow of flowers. You can see there's a few paths that have been walked enough to allow you to traverse it without really crushing any of its beauty or feeling as though you're stepping out of place. But this place feels almost otherworldly in just how pretty it is. Renair looks on and is just wide-eyed with a smile on his face. He says, it's beautiful.
Wow. Bonnie, you come here often then. You know this place by heart then. Anybody else come here?
I travel the Golden Route a lot. It's one little stop that I just have to myself, and other travelers come by it too and embrace the fields, but looks like we were lucky this time. No one around to really disturb that sort of thing, so.
It's so peaceful.
What time of day is it?
It's around midday at this point, a little bit past, you'd say. There is, in this place where the forest clearing, sunlight is able to pour onto this meadow itself. So
Azzurum would probably just lay.
Face down?
No, face up.
you, Azzurum, as you all make your way into the middle of this meadow, Azzurum, you lay back in a bed of beautiful pink flowers that seem to almost support you. They aren't crushed under you. They almost seem to spring up around you and just lay with you in a way.
I want to lay down too.
You lay down as well.
Feel the sun on my skin.
You both lay down. This little bit of peace. There's a nostalgia to this place that is strange because none of you have ever been here. And your mind is immediately sort of taken back to better times. Let's start with you then. Vincent, is there any memory that Vincent would associate with this kind of peace, a place like this?
It's funny that you asked. I was going to sit down next to Renair, pretty close to him, our shoulders are touching. And I'll say, I really miss that garden.
I do too.
I wonder if anybody's been taking care of it.
Oh, they have. The people of Senia, they nurture that garden, and they are very, very caring of it. And I was part of that, of course, but I have no doubt that it's being well taken care of, he says. He breathes in deep of just the sweetness of the meadow in the moment. And he just, as you're sort of sat close to him, moves his hand and just places it over yours. And he says, but I'm sure there will be plenty of beautiful places for us to see together. And this is just the first of a few.
I look forward to it.
He just leans his head onto your shoulder. Moving around. Lidara, is there any particular memory you think that you would associate with a place like this, or a moment from either your past or your time in the city that you would?
As she lays down, she's immediately hit with the smell, the feeling, and it reminds her of her sister. She remembers this one time back when they were younger. They would kind of like roam around, just kind of like pretending to be adventurers, seeing what they could find, and one day they came across a place very similar to this. And she just remembers how excited her sister was. She remembers her giggle, because she was younger than her. And she also remembers that they kind of got in trouble because they weren't really supposed to be there. They were a little too young. But that was like one of her last really good memories from her hometown. So that is what is filling her brain.
The sound of your sister's laughter echoes in your head. And it always sounded like what you imagined the sun would sound like when it bursts through the clouds. And you breathe deep. Moving around. Azzurum.
As Azzurum lays there, he looks up at the sky and feels the sun like beaming down on him, and the warmth reminds him of the warmth of waking up in the yawning portal in DeVille's room and feeling the sun come in through the window, and then looking over and seeing DeVille asleep, or sometimes not asleep. I think that the sun reminds him of DeVille a lot.
You look up, and you have to squint your eyes as the brightness of the sun pierces the blue sky. And you lie back and feel warmth. A long, long winter is what you felt for a lot of that time when you returned to Siniath. But you can only really find that warmth in one place. And resting in his arms as he wraps them around you, you feel that same warm embrace from the beautiful chrysanthemums that sprout up and just warm you. And Bonnie sits down, finally taking off her duster jacket and just finally removing her hat. Just breathes deep. She opens up a small basket and removes a few sandwiches. And she looks and she says, listen, I don't have a lot of experience with dietary restrictions, but I asked Renaer and he said that you had a few, so I tried my best. And she hands you a few sandwiches of just like lettuce, tomato, some cucumber, that sort of thing. And then passes out the rest amongst you to enjoy as she sits. And she says, "This is my favorite spot in the Painted Valley, I think. It's, carries a lot of good memories, even though a lot of them are kind of the same. Just, resting here and, taking a break from all the noise." Everybody I've asked calls this spot a different name, but they all have the same story for it, I suppose.
What do you call it?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of a name, honestly. I feel like you can't really capture the beauty of some place like this with a name. She smiles and she looks on. Just a wistful smile. You can see carries just a lot of weight that is being lifted off her shoulders. She says, "I know the story's name. It has to do, I think, with some fancy theories of, the universes and that sort of thing. It's based off an old Vondric tale. But it's, the name that they give it now is the Fae and the Florist."
Well, if you don't mind, would you mind telling us?
I can recall a little bit. I can't tell it like my mama used to tell me, but I can recall. There's two characters. One of them is the Florist, the young Freya. She's the caretaker of the flowers in a clearing near her village, her community. And she watches over them carefully each and every day, tending to them at all hours of the day. And the legend states that she knew each and every flower down to the number of petals and the lengths of the stem, but, One day, she noticed that there were a few flowers that she never planted that were springing up around the outskirts of the field. Pink chrysanthemums, like these. She says she pulls one up, doesn't pluck it, but just kind of places her hand gingerly under it to show you. They swayed in the breeze, and they were so different from the other flowers of the garden, but Freya took an interest with them, and she saw that they led off into the woods that surrounded the clearing and couldn't help but follow. And it said that she saw a figure in those woods that the flowers were leading right to. And when the figure saw that they were spotted, they ran off into the forest. And Freya, being very strong, sort of gave chase. Her curiosity got the best of her, and especially after seeing that as the figure ran, these little pink chrysanthemums would sprout up at her feet. Finally, the figure turned around, seeing Freya was intent to follow, and they were revealed to be a fairy, a fae, by the name of Bree. And Bree says that she watched Freya tend to the flowers each and every day and was taken by the beauty of one particular flower. And she asked to take home the most beautiful flower from that field with her. And so Freya agreed, much to Bree's surprise, and gathered one of the most beautiful flowers that she believed was the one Bree was asking for. And Bree was excited, jubilant, but said, "This is not the one, but I love it so." And took that flower back with her, that trail of flowers springing up at her footsteps. And the next day, to Freya's surprise, Bree returned and was watching. But this time not hidden, slightly closer to the field. Freya once again offered a flower she believed to be the most beautiful, which Bree accepted with a smile, but once again they said it was not the one. And they continued that routine. I I lose parts of it here and there, but I know that day after day they would just get to know each other further and further. And they would eventually dance and sing songs with each other, and each visit would end with Freya trying to guess which flower it was and giving it to Bree, and Bree saying it's not the one. And as she did this, the flower field itself grew smaller and smaller, but the trail leading into the forest of chrysanthemums would grow more vibrant and wilder, more and more of them sprouting up. And one day, there was no more flowers in the field to give. Bree asked once again if she could take the most beautiful flower home with her. And Freya said, with sadness in her voice, "My dear, there are no more flowers in bloom for me to give. Which do you mean?" And said that Bree took her by the hand and said, "This one." And with that, the rest of the legend goes that Bree led Freya down the trail of chrysanthemums back to her home in the Feywild. And because of this, pink chrysanthemums are seen as symbols of love and good fortune in Vondric communities. It's said that it's where our realm and the Feywild overlap, and where Bree and Freya are dancing. So this whole field, they sure did dance a lot. She lays back, takes a deep breath, and then looks on. She says, "We can get back on the trail in a minute. I just wanted to take a moment."
Lidara has tears streaming down her face. She stays silent, though.
It was a really beautiful story. Thank you for telling us.
Thank you for listening.
Let's take a moment. And then Vincent lays back in the field.
Bonnie looks on, and she just says, outwardly, she says, "You're good folk. And I hope that you will trust me. I don't know if our paths will cross once we go to Weldon, if we're heading our separate ways, but you take care of each other. And it's been a long time since I've really seen that out here." She breathes deep. Renera lies down with you after a while, Vincent, and just stares up at the sky. And you can see that he's crying. Just silently, there are tears falling down his cheeks.
I reach out and hold his hand and pull it up to my chest. Like hold it with both hands.
He takes it. His breathing is uneven, but he's still silent as he runs his thumb across your hand.
Lidara leans her head on Azzurum.
Azzurum just keeps staring at the sky. He moves a hand to hold his necklace, but he doesn't say anything.
The necklace is warm. The combination of the breeze in the valley and the constant air that whips around Azzurum's head, it's nice. It's a refreshing feeling. And eventually, your picnic ends. Bonnie stands up, brushes some of the dirt off of her, and then makes her way back to the wagon and says, "Shall we?"
Yeah, let's Let's go.
You all continue down the path. At the end of the next day of travel, getting close towards nighttime, just sort of to where the sky is orange and almost golden in some places, you crest the hill and feel the horses slow as Bonnie yells from the seat, "Well, folks, seems we're nearly to our destination if you'd like to take a look."
I'll peek out.
You take some time to peek out as best as you can. And from the hilltop, you can see, off in the distance, past rolling hills and stretches of prairie, a massive river that stretches across the valley itself. Clear blue water that flows from the mountains off in the horizon and southward. The river itself must be over a mile wide in terms of its actual length, just from this perspective. However, what draws your attention more so than the river is the structure built atop it upon the golden road itself. Stretching across the entire width of the river, connecting both sides, you see a city built upon a massive bridge of brick. The rivers of the waters flow through the city's bridges, exiting through tunnels with docks that extend from underneath the city itself. The surrounding fields are worked into farmland, and you can see a number of boats floating lazily in the water. The western bank of the farmland, the one closest to you, seems to be almost golden with wheat fields, but the eastern side is seemingly verdant with vineyards. The town itself is tightly packed with taller, colorfully painted buildings of stone, brick, and wood. Think Howl's Moving Castle in terms of the aesthetic. You can see a number of carriages passing through and are immediately nostalgic for the packed and busy streets of Cineath. And at the center of it all, a clock tower that rises towards the sky, beautifully built with metal hands that turn throughout the day. It is lighted from the bottom with spiraling lights, and larger warehouses on the farthest corner, in the corner closest to you, you can see steam rising from smokestacks that rise and dissipate into the sky. Water wheels collect power from the river itself. I'll never get tired of this sight. Yeah! Bonnie makes her way down the hill. As you approach Weldon, and as you crest down that hill, as Bonnie takes those wagons down the road toward Weldon, Azzurum, as you peek out to view the city from the windows, you can feel the wind pick up and pull you into the city itself. And that's where we'll end. Oh, hello. Good to see you again. I hope you enjoyed the show. And as for me, I'm still in a bit of trouble. So, if you see the others, please let them know that Renair is having difficulties. Otherwise, have a great day, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.